Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Plank. I'm a technical marketing engineer for the Cisco Intercloud Services business unit. What I'm going to talk about today is it's going to be a lightning talk about the session I'm going to host over in DevNet tomorrow at 12:30. It's going to be about building enterprise applications on CIS. Today I'm going to talk about some of the enablers of building those enterprise applications, and then tomorrow we're going to do some pretty cool interactive demos. As far as agenda goes, we're going to start out, we're going to talk about Cisco Intercloud Services and some of the key characteristics of the platform. Then we're going to talk about interacting with the platform, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the developer platform. And I'll finish off with where to go next. A lot of folks have asked, what is Cisco Intercloud Services? What are you building? So I think the best place to start with all this is with what we're building. So we're building a large global public cloud, global scale, but we're also doing this with our partners. So some of our key partners that we've announced in the press, at conferences, we've gone live in Australia with one of our partners, Telstra. So it's not just about Cisco, it's about Cisco and the partner ecosystem that we have. The platform that we built is an open platform, so anything that you can, any service that you can enable in the platform can be enabled via an API, and we'll get into some of the examples later. And the last point I'll make real quick is that what this ultimately enables is rapid innovation, with the focus on cloud native applications. If we look at the different ways to interact with the platform, the first one is API. So we we expose API services such as compute, network, block storage, object storage. If you're following, so it is a cloud based on OpenStack. Some of the other options that you have outside of API interaction is you can interact with SDKs. Some of the SDKs that you can use are Python, Java, Ruby. So you have the freedom to write in the language that's comfortable to you. In addition, you can leverage CLI. So within the OpenStack framework, there is a CLI. That's something you can use for checks and balances. That's something you can also script. The last point, if some of our users, for example, that are currently on the platform, they do use the GUI, and the GUI is somewhat helpful to get that graphical rendering of what you've ultimately built with your automated tools. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the actual platform for developers. So one of what we consider the first stop for developers currently on the platform is they're leveraging heat templates. So you can leverage a heat template, you can build out not just infrastructure, but you can also automate the deployment of an application. So one of the examples that I'll go through tomorrow is setting up an instance of Flasky, which ultimately has Nginx on the back end. And we'll also spin up a web server. As we do that, that's completely automated, no touch, you just hit the go button, you're provisioning at that point 2 very simple applications. And like I mentioned, that's generally what we see as the first stop. Now, as we're innovating on the platform, you've probably heard about Project Shift. I see a sticker here. So Project Shift is really starting out as a developer paths. So it gives our users the ability to create a CI/CD environment to give you the full range of developing an application, check in, deploy, build, all of those good things. Now, the key about this is that it's not built by some ancillary team at Cisco. It's built by developers at Cisco that are developing applications and we're getting into the hands of developers, taking feedback, and I'll provide some links at the end that you can review later that will allow you to go look at content, check out the GitHub, and ultimately get started. The last point that I'll make around the developer platform is today a number of our users are deploying things like OpenShift and Cloud Foundry within tenant space in OpenStack. That's somewhat interesting, but at the end of the day, where we're going towards building a true platform as a service offering that leverages the OpenStack APIs underneath, but ultimately we'll be building we'll be developing a PaaS that enterprises, customers can ultimately write applications without having to worry about any underlying infrastructure elements. It's all abstracted through that abstraction layer, which ultimately becomes an OpenShift or a Cloud Foundry. The last slide, I kind of talk about where to go next, and I'll spend a couple of minutes. I've already talked about Project Shipped. We're on release 0.3. What I've provided are a couple of links. The first link takes you to the jump page for Project Shipped. The second page takes you towards a blog that was written by Ken Owens that talks a lot about hybrid DevOps. Definitely recommend that you take a look at that blog. Additionally, underneath the DevNet section here, I included a link to the launch page, which will take you to the cloud launch page of DevNet, and you'll find a lot of information. You'll find information about Intercloud. You'll find information about other cloud groups at Cisco that are building and innovating with the developer community and in DevNet. And then additionally, I know a lot of folks are, if you've been involved with OpenStack for a long time, you understand heat templates, you understand the power behind using them. But what I've included is just a link that will essentially take you to some getting started documentation, so that you can get familiar with heat, whether you want to use YAML or some of the other options to create those templates. It all starts there. And I think the last point that I'll make, reach out if you have any questions about what we're doing with Intercloud services. Feel free to reach out to me at jplank@cisco.com. You can harass me on Twitter. Definitely have a good time. But anything I can do to help, please do reach out. Thanks, everyone.